So if playing chess and losing to a blind man, let's get right into it. Let me tell you why Tottenham won. That's very simple. For the next 10 minutes, I'm going to tell you why Tottenham won by a lone goal and how it actually worked. And how Ange Postecoglou went from playing high line to playing a mid-block. I'll tell you. Let's get into tactical. Now, this was the starting lineup. Tottenham Hotspur fantastically chose not to start with a 4-3-3. They rather played a 4-2-3-1. 4-2-3-1. And obviously, Manchester United deciding for the first time in the competition, deciding to go with a 3-back, 4 midfield, 2 and then 1. Rasmus Højlund being the center figure up there. This is very beautiful. You expect some strength from Bizuma Bentancur, not so much of the strength person to just lace those passes, but we'll get to talk about him much later. And also, Sarr clearing and running all those channels. The surprise inclusion for me in this part was Richarlison, but I'll get to him also much later. So, Manchester United decided to go with experience in midfield. They had Bruno Fernandes and then Casemiro. We'll talk about Dogu later because he was one of the leading factors why the goal went through Euro. Now, let's look at the average positions of Manchester United players. So, this was the average position. And if you look at it beautifully, it draws a certain shape and it excludes a lot in the middle. Look at how far constantly apart Højlund and Bruno were. Bruno going forward consistently and leaving the man, yes, Casemiro alone in the middle. But Rasmus Højlund for Manchester United was not the most outfield or front player. It was rather Amad Diallo. We'll talk a bit about him and why he was so isolated in play. Now, watch this particular place. In the next 2 slides, I would explain why this is so. So, Luke Shaw, Dogu and then Mason Mount were having a beautiful marriage on the left-hand side. We'll get to it. Now let's check out Tottenham Hotspur, how they were evenly shaped across the pitch. For some strange reason, Tottenham Hotspur had 3 people lurking around the middle of the pitch all the time against Manchester United's 2. Already we are seeing some numerical advantages. We'll get to it. Let's continue. Now look at it and evenly you would see Solanke is slightly ahead, creating trouble for Manchester United. Now let's check out some statistics. Tottenham Hotspur deciding to cede possession to Manchester United, coming out with 27%, but they did not care. They did not care. Why? Because what mattered is here. Expected goals. They were expected to score 1 goal, and they scored the goal, and that was it. Simple. Created 1 big chance, got the goal from the big chance, and then closed shop. Simple. Total shots in the entire final was 3 shots. For a Tottenham Hotspur team under Ange Postecoglou, these are strange stats. They only passed the ball 184 times, less than 200 times, and they were champions. Manchester United passed the ball more than 500 times and came home without a trophy. Now let's talk about how Manchester United started this whole thing. In the first half, they decided that they were going to use their wings to cause Tottenham Hotspur problems, but it did not work. Patrick Dogu was isolated constantly here, forcing Luke Shaw to constantly keep coming here and trying to create a little bit relation and link up play. The problem with Manchester United's play initially, they overloaded the left for some strange reason that I still cannot fathom. They overloaded their left side, having Mason Mount here, Dogu here, Luke Shaw, you have Maguire also tilting to the left, and Casemiro having to drop. Now, even looking at this, you have a free man here, Brandon Johnson, who is shadow marking 2 people. So automatically, it leaves Tottenham Hotspur with a man advantage. Look here, they have a man advantage over the man who? Rasmus Højlund. Let's build it up from there. Let's go on to the next slide. Now, that was happening on the left side. But on the right side, Amad Diallo had so much room, he did not know what to do. He kept on getting the ball, and the only option for him was to run. However, he constantly did not have a lot of people around him, so they were not able to create dangerous situations for the team Tottenham from their left side, which is Manchester United's right side. Bear with me. Look at one of Manchester United's most prolific creator. That is Bruno Fernandes. He is back here and Diallo is here. How close are you going to get to him to help create some sequence of action here and connect the man Rasmus Højlund? That was a big issue as well. Let's move it on. Manchester United then decided that when they are in possession, they do not want to go through the middle of the pitch. They are not interested in going through the middle of the pitch. They had Mazraoui providing more width for the team and Diallo coming infield. This was a sequence that came about in the second half. In the second half, they sought to tweak a little bit of things. So they just closed the middle, trying to now capitalize on the constant space that has always been left in the Tottenham Hotspur midfield, which for some strange reason, Amorim did not see in the first half. Now, this sequence still did not lead to them creating more threatening situations for Tottenham. Now, Diallo, who was hugging the touchline, has come infield. Mount, who was creating an overload, has come infield. Now, allowing Mazraoui to create more width, which eventually did not actually get to help. So this was the sequence. And still in this situation, you can see that there is an overload on Rasmus Højlund. 2 against 1. 1v1. Rasmus Højlund is not even able to provide the goods. Then 2v1. How does it work? Let's move it on. Now, they decided that they were going to try and change some things, and they brought in Zexi for the man Rasmus Højlund and brought in Garnacho for the man, yes, Mason Mount. And this still did not change anything because the personnel just changed and the play was still same. However, Zexi decided that he was going to play his 9.5 role. He started dropping back and collaborating and just conniving with the man Fernandes. But this is not where you want these two to be having the ball between themselves. You want it high up the pitch so that they can actually create threatening situations for the defense of Tottenham Hotspur. Look how far away from the center line. By the time this would happen, at least they would have picked up the pieces and lift the game up. Now, let's check out how Tottenham actually hurt Manchester United. Now, Tottenham did this beautifully by also deciding that if Manchester United think they would go outside, we will also go outside. We, Tottenham, will go outside. That's what they did. Now, constantly they kept Udogie, Richarlison, making sure that the wing back or the wing backs did not get their day. Now, they also had Porro and Johnson. When they are going forward, then it becomes critical. Now, they made sure that crosses were going to be the order of their day. Crosses were going to be the order of their day. And these crosses were provided by Porro, Johnson, Richarlison, Udogie. So what happens is one is stretching the width of the team and the other is crossing the ball. Aside that, what then happens is they are not crossing to the middle of the penalty box. No. They are crossing to either post, either the far post or the near post. Either the far post or the near post. Now, that is how they got their goal. So the goal came about when the man, Sarr, went and joined Richarlison for one of the very few moments in the game on the left-hand side, crossed the ball, and Brandon Johnson, who is the right attacker, coming all the way to the first pole to connect with the football, where Manchester United had players littered all over the penalty box. Now, once this happened, Manchester United, you would think, have men in the middle. No, they don't have men in the middle. Look at the man Bruno Fernandes. Who is he picking up? No one. Now you have Rasmus Højlund having a passive press on Romero. Romero will definitely drive forward with the ball. You can't passively press him. No, it doesn't happen. Now, Tottenham decided that they have gotten their goal. And what would Manchester United want to do? They want to press 1v1, no problem. They decided it is time to play basic low block football. Basic low block football, which is something that Tottenham have not played this season. Under Ange Postecoglou, this is the first time I've seen them switch from 4-2-3-1 to eventually playing in a 4-3-3, playing all sorts of low block situations, hitting Manchester United on the counter. The coaches promised different things, and we actually did see. One coach promised us that he wins things in the second season. Another coach said that we were going to see a different Manchester United. We actually saw a different Manchester United because this is the first time Manchester played this kind of football in the Europa League. They did not try any of this in the other games, in the other knockout phases. This is the first time they are playing this. That's why they lost. Why change a system that's not broken? Why fix something that's not broken? Tottenham Hotspur played extremely basic football. Crosses from wingers, crosses from wing backs, crosses from laterals to near and far posts. Connections from the other side's winger, other side's fullback, connect with that ball. You allow the striker or the main man up front 1v1 with the centre back, let him drag him out to the centre spot or somewhere around the penalty spot and allow the free movement of your laterals. That's how this whole game went down. Tottenham ending the game masterfully with that one goal. Congratulations to Ange Postecoglou for getting it right, for not playing the high line. But to Ruben Amorim, his team is in decline.